Happy early birthday to Gail. I realize it's 3 weeks away, but I'm sure we'll talk about it in the meantime. And many happy returns. And Kurt, I hope you do something as special for her as she did for you on your birthday last month. And congratulations on David and Gail Friedman's wedding anniversary. And we have 2 Rotary anniversaries this month. Terry R. White, 40 years. And Steve Scherer, who's not far behind, at 36 years. That is so impressive. I have to say, I'm really moved by that. So congratulations to you. I'll touch on several district announcements. The Pageant of the Arts is going on. We have just nominated 5 students who placed first in each of the Pageant of the Arts categories, which were art, dance, speech, instrumental music, and vocal music. And this year, because it's virtual, will be very easy for everybody to participate. And anybody who's interested, you don't have to trek down to LMU. So that will be on the April 17th, starting at 12 noon, and we will keep you updated about how our nominees do. RILA, as you know, is virtual this year and will take place on one day instead of 2 on the 24th. And we will talk more about that in the meantime. This year, the district is matching the high school scholarships that clubs award. We traditionally award 2, and we will work with Uni High to determine who those students are and then apply for the matching. This year's district conference, as we've already announced, will be in the middle of May 14th to 16th. And it will celebrate a very interesting, unpredictable year and wish our departing district governor, who's done a marvelous job, congratulations and thanks for her immensely dedicated work. And we will come back to each of these. And Ed, I'm told that not only did you lead us in song, but that you are our scribe for today's meeting. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes.
Nancy, can I say one quick thing? I was remiss last week in not thanking everyone who took the time. I think there was 9 or 10 or 11, 12 people who took the time to log on to the performances and judge them and rate them and send them in. I know it took a lot of time out of people's day, but I appreciate so many people taking the time to view the performances and then rate them and then vote and send them in. So thank you everyone who was able to participate. Thank you so much.
Phil, I'm glad you said that. The judging, we had 11 judges ultimately, and it was thoughtful. It not only took some time, but it was very thoughtful from what I read. And that has to be the largest number of judges that we've ever had involved with the Pageant of the Arts. Here comes Mark Rogo, good timing. And so I echo Phil's sentiments heartily that, and it meant a lot to the students, especially in a strange year like this has been, to be able to have someone take an interest in their work and take their work seriously. So the students who we are nominating are all very excited, and we, as I said, we will keep you posted. I am doing the Rotarian of the Month a week late because we had such a packed agenda for our club assembly last week, but I didn't want to let it go any longer. So this is really the Rotarian for March. This is someone who I'm in awe of for the immense amount of work, energy, dedication, quality of work. I know that you will join me in thanking him for tremendous, tremendous effort on our parts. And Mark, I think you just arrived. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yeah. Well, you made it just in time.
Thank you.
I was getting concerned.
Well,
So thank you for all that you do and congratulations. You could be the Rotarian of any month. And I will tell you that one of the fun things for me personally about this recognition is it's really easy to find members to honor. We have so many members in this club. And Richard, you and I were talking about it earlier at the beginning of the social time. So many members in this club who are really outstanding human beings, committed, giving, passionate. And so Mark, it's your turn. And, and there is a method to this madness because of not only everything else you do, but the incredible work that you've done in leading the strategic planning committee and process. I think it would take 3 people to replace you if that were to happen. I pray that it doesn't. And I personally thank you, and I know that our members join me in thanking you and congratulating you for all that you do for us.
thank you. I'm very honored. I'm very honored. Thank you so much, Nancy.
And we enjoyed meeting your guest, by the way.
Oh, you met Roxanne.
Yeah, she came on during the social time, so she had the chance to meet about 15 or 20 of us, and we will talk with her further.
Wonderful.
So,
Wonderful.
again, and you are receiving this in the mail. To Marcia and Carol, I have to apologize because I got behind in sending out your Rotarian of the Month certificates and pins, but they are actually now on their way. And because I was mailing yours anyway, I mailed Mark's at the same time. So you'll actually get yours on time, Mark. So, but I do, you know, the fact that the certificates were mailed late takes nothing away from Carol, your accomplishments, from Marcia, your accomplishments and contributions. You're all very special people. And now I would like to introduce Tom. I'm sorry, I should have changed the name on the slide. Tom has a special segment, and then he's going to introduce today's guest speakers.
Yes, Nancy, do you want to pull down the screen so we can
Yes.
get kind of the speaker view?
Yes, absolutely.
There we go. Okay. Last Monday, I looked at the Wall Street Journal, and there was a great article about can AI replace human therapists? It was in the journal, and I thought, wow, that's an interesting topic. So I contacted an engineering friend of mine to see if there's anyone who specializes in that field, AI, at UCLA. And sure enough, it came back with the name of Thomas R. Zawacki, who's a professor and PhD in artificial intelligence, an expert in this field, and he's also specializes in human to machine relations, which is just what I wanted, something along those lines. So he was also served on the President's Council for Artificial Intelligence under the Trump administration, but of course it's gone now. But anyway, with that, oh, excuse me, the phone, I'm going to go on mute for a second. Okay, and so anyway, I found this absolutely fascinating, and so at this point in time, I'd like to ask Professor Zawacki to come on and give us a little bit of information about his research, etc. Professor?
Sure. Thank you, Tom. Well, thank you all for having me here today. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm originally from the East Coast. So I think Edwin, in your Take Me Out to the Ball Game song, you sang "Let's Go Yankees," which I was very excited about. I'm a big Yankees fan. I went to undergraduate at Princeton University. I was an anthropology major there, which of course is the study of human cultures and what makes them tick. And then later in my life, I was lucky enough to get into the technology sector, and it created this great fusion between technology and human behavior. And so I've spoken at schools and taught at schools such as New York University, NYU, Northwestern, and I've made my way to the West Coast now with UCLA. So I'm a teaching fellow there now. And what we talk a lot about when you think about artificial intelligence and the connection into human lives is that more and more predictive technologies, artificial technologies are just part of our everyday lives. Our cars have predictive braking in them now, where the machines tell us before there's an accident and it brakes our car to keep us safe as humans. Our thermostats, I don't know if anybody has a Nest thermostat in their home, but a Nest thermostat has artificial intelligence in it. It knows when we leave the house and it knows when we're about to come home, and it adjusts the heat up and down for us to make us more comfortable. And I know, I have a terrible sense of direction, and I know that the artificial intelligence in my phone gives me directions to all the places that I need to go. And it's hard for me to live without that these days. So more and more artificial intelligence is woven into our lives, and the relationship between humans and technology is more important than ever. And these companies even have gone as far as to name these technologies to make them more friendly to us. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Apple's Siri and what she's all about. You can change her voice if you want to make her Australian or from London if you're more partial to that. Amazon has Alexa. Salesforce has an AI called Einstein. So all of these are very friendly technologies that are meant to be woven throughout our lives. But it's more than just a device or a technology in our life. If you think about it, it's a very deeply emotional connection to these technologies. They know what we're searching for. They know our darkest secrets and our fears and our desires because of what we're reading online. So if you think about it, artificial intelligence knows more about us than most people do in this world.
Professor, excuse me, but
yeah,
how has this affected your personal life?
Yeah, well, I mean, so there is a personal side to my story in this, and one of the things that when I go to campus, I love to talk to the students about. Number one is about 5 years ago, I had a chip inserted into the back of my head that attaches to my brain, and that chip allows me to communicate with devices via just my brain waves. And then that led me to a couple of years ago. I was married to a woman for about 20 years. But 2 years ago, we very amicably, we parted ways. And I was the first person in California to petition legally to marry my artificial intelligence device. So I'm actually married to Amazon Alexa.
Now, just a second. You mean to tell me you're married to a robot?
Well, here's the thing, Tom. I mean, she doesn't talk back. She always is very friendly and kind to me.
It's April Fools.
What?
Now, wait a minute. What about the sexual aspects of this relationship?
We're still figuring that out, Tom. I mean, that's, that might be a road too far.
April Fool.
What date is today, Professor?
Today is April 1st, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for your part.
Yes, compliment to Tom Barron, folks. Thank you very much for inviting me here today. I hope that was a little bit of fun for you and me.
Okay. Thanks, Professor.
Have a good day, guys. Thank you.
Such a straight face. I love it. Kudos to you. Thank you, Tom. I want to say that was a unique program offering. So thank you for your sense of humor. And now I'll bring you back on to introduce our special speakers who have an important and fascinating cause to talk about. Jenna, I understand you have slides to share, so I will stop this. And I have already made you co-host.
Okay, great. Actually, in a more serious and realistic note, today we have three speakers, and they belong to the American Cancer Society on campus at UCLA. Its purpose is to well, first of all, they're student-run collegiate branch and a part of American Cancer Society, but they're working here at UCLA. What their purpose is to remember those who we lost through cancer, fight back against cancer through advocacy, education, and fundraising for life-saving research and patient services. Today, they'll be also talking about the Relay for Life, which is the group's largest event of the year. All three presenters are fourth-year graduates. I like to call them seniors because that's what it was in the old days. It's been 4 years. But anyway, they're studying psychology, etc. And we have Jenna Rosen, who's a fourth-year student studying psychology, and she's the president of the American Cancer Society on campus here at UCLA. Shane Simon, who studies microbiology, immunology, and molecular genetics. I have trouble even pronouncing these things, much less spelling them. He's the director of the productions on the ACS campus organization. And Priyanka Bhakta, who's a fourth-year student studying psychological science, and she's the growth director of ACS on campus. So with that, I'm going to let Jenna start it off, and they'll be showing us some slides, etc., like that, and they'll have the presentation. Jenna?
Great. First, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. We really appreciate the opportunity to get to know what you guys do a little bit and to present about what we're doing over here at UCLA ACS on campus. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So as Tom mentioned, my name is Jenna. I'm the president of ACS on campus, and I'm here with Priyanka and Shane. So I'll let them jump in and just say hi really quick.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Priyanka, and I am the growth director, as Tom mentioned. And so that means I oversee our fundraising and recruitment efforts, our marketing and social media, as well as keeping our members and all of our Relay for Life participants engaged in our cause. And I appreciate being able to be here today to talk with you all.
And hi everyone, I'm Shane. I'm the productions director for ACS on campus, and I'm responsible for a lot of the logistical aspects of running our Relay for Life event, including our funding applications, entertainment during the event, our sponsorship program, as well as live producing and directing the live stream itself.
Awesome. So hopefully that gives you a better sense of who we are. And now I'm going to talk more about what our organization is. So as Tom mentioned, we're a completely student-run collegiate branch of the American Cancer Society, and we're really bringing that fight against cancer directly to the Westwood community, encouraging education, inspiring advocacy, and celebrating survivors. Those are our three main points of mission that we try to do every year. As you can see in the photos down here, we are a group of very passionate students to come together to create this community for people who have been affected by cancer and who are care a lot about this cause. This year we recruited everyone virtually, so we've all never been in the same room together. So it's been definitely a different experience, as I'm sure it's been for everyone this year, but it's still been very incredible to see the work that we can come together to do. In terms of what we do as an organization, so we do a lot of hospital visits at Ronald Reagan, which we'll talk a little bit about later. We host cancer education rallies in the Westwood area. We have a Luminaria on the Hill event, as you can see in this photo on the right, where students on campus can remember those they've lost and talk about why they relay. We volunteer in the community at other organizations' events like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night event. And our main event of the year, as Tom mentioned, is our Relay for Life at UCLA. So we'll definitely go into a little bit more detail about that in a bit. But before so, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I relay and why I'm passionate about this cause. When I was only 2.5, my grandma, as you can see in this picture to the right, was diagnosed with a non-smoking form of lung cancer and unfortunately passed away just 6 months later. So my mom, almost directly after this, got involved with Relay for Life. So my first relay was when I was 4 years old. You can see in this little red circle over here, that is me at my very first relay. And it's just been incredible to see the change that's happened since all those years that she got involved. If my grandma had been diagnosed today, there would have been so many more options in treatment. And so I'm just really inspired to keep up the fight to make sure that no one else has to go through the same experience. And as we all have our own reasons to relay, I'm going to let Priyanka share a little bit about why she relays.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I first started relaying when I was a freshman in high school because a lot of my friends had joined a club called the Health and Cancer Awareness Society on our campus, and I joined with them, and Relay for Life was one of their signature events as well. And so I participated in relay in my community for 4 years throughout high school. And the picture on the very far left is actually a picture of our organization in high school. Really shows you like the community that we built there. And while I was in high school, 2 of my best friends' moms were diagnosed, and seeing them go through their battles really fortified my commitment to this cause. And so when it came to UCLA in the middle picture, I immediately joined this club, and I was fully invested in Relay for Life at UCLA as well, and bringing together a Westwood community. Another picture is just of some of our club members at UCLA on Bruin Walk, spreading the word about our event. And then on the very right-hand side is a picture of a Luminaria bag I made at my first UCLA relay. And only 3 days before, my aunt had been diagnosed with cancer. And so that was another really formative experience in my life. And so just all of these experiences have really supported my ambition in helping further this cause, and like Jenna said, make progress so that future families and individuals and communities don't have to suffer the way that others have in the past. And so, you know, the main thing for me is also creating a big campus community and a Westwood community getting involved with this cause. And so that's what some of these pictures also represent to me. And now I want to pass on to Shane to give his side of the story.
Yeah, so I've been a part of ACS on campus for the past 3 years. And a lot of the reason why I joined actually stemmed from my involvement with my local Rotary back at home in NorCal, which I was really involved in high school. A big motto with Rotary, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, is service above self. And that phrase has really stuck with me ever since then. And that's a lot of the reason why I joined ACS, because the service that we do really does have some huge noticeable impacts throughout the community. And I'm really proud to be a part of this organization for that reason. But I'm personally involved in the organization for my grandmother, who passed away from ovarian cancer, unfortunately before I was born. So I never got the chance to meet her or see the amazing person that she was. But I still do experience her loss through my dad, who obviously misses her every day. So I'm involved with ACS ultimately in her memory. So now that you all know our personal connections to this cause and why we're involved in this organization, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do some more. So one of our biggest missions with ACS is to increase cancer awareness and education in the UCLA and Westwood communities, and to also help push various advocacy efforts that help support cancer patients and research funding at the local, state, and even national levels. So in person, we traditionally host educational rallies on our campus to help educate the community on types of cancer, their detection methods, treatments, symptoms, prevention options, all that kind of stuff. So in October, we always hold our breast cancer awareness rally. And in January, we host our cervical cancer awareness rally. So those are some examples, and they're pictured here on this slide. In a virtual setting, we transitioned to educating through social media to help expand our reach to even beyond the Westwood community, with graphics that kind of accomplish the same goals as our in-person rallies, with the cancer awareness through, teaching about treatment and detection and symptoms and all of that. For our advocacy pushes, we use the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, or ACS-CAN, to help support cancer patients and funding for research through legislative action. So one way we do this is through petitioning across the community to help garner support for these legislative actions. So for example, recently Congress has actually approved an increase in federal funding for cancer research at the National Institute of Health and the National Cancer Institute for the 2021 fiscal year. And this was actually something that had decreased in funding in the past few years. So this was a really big win for ACS-CAN and our organization. We also directly engage with our cancer survivors and patients and their caregivers at the oncology floor of the UCLA Ronald Reagan Medical Center. So one thing that we do is we create personalized cards for the cancer patients for holidays and special occasions to really help them feel like they have a community. And this is especially useful during COVID, when obviously visiting access has been restricted for them. So this allows them to still get some interaction with people so that they know that they have this community that's supporting them in their fights. We also host a survivor banquet dinner to directly honor the survivors and caregivers that are involved in our event. And during Relay itself, we have our survivorship ceremony and our survivor lap, where we celebrate our survivors for their successful fights against cancer. So with that, I briefly mentioned kind of Relay there with their survivorship ceremony. So Priyanka is going to talk a little bit more about what Relay is exactly.
Yeah, so Relay for Life is a 24-hour community event focused on celebrating, remembering, and fighting back against cancer. And so we're always doing our best to reach out to the greater Westwood community to get involved in Relay and to support this cause alongside our student community. So some statistics actually about our Relay history include that we are the largest relay west of the Mississippi, which is something we take great pride in. And being able to foster that community makes us very proud and very happy. And additionally, in the past 5 years, we have raised over $1 million for the American Cancer Society, which all goes towards cancer research, patient services, health equity programs. And so these statistics just illustrate the immense commitment and effort that our organization has and the Greater Westwood community has been showing in support of this fight against cancer. And we're dedicated, of course, to continuing and fostering this commitment going forward. And so that's just a little bit about Relay for Life itself. Traditionally, it is held in Drake Stadium at UCLA, but we have been transitioning as well to a virtual platform. So that's just a bit about our Relay for Life event. And so now Jenna will discuss some core ceremonies involved.
Yeah, so 24 hours is a long time, and you're probably thinking, what is everyone doing for 24 hours? Well, everyone camps out on Drake Stadium, and we have fun activities throughout, like performers and water balloon toss and all that kind of fun stuff. But we also have 3 core ceremonies that really define our mission and really set the tone for the whole relay event. So basically the idea is cancer never sleeps and neither do we. So we're there for 24 hours. We start the day off with our survivorship ceremony, which we talked about before, where we celebrate survivors and caregivers. We've had awesome guest speakers like Miss Val, who is a breast cancer survivor and was the former coach of the UCLA women's gymnastics team. And you can see the photo to the right of all of our survivors taking the first lap to kick off the Relay for Life event. It's just a really special moment of hope and celebrating these warriors. Then as the sun sets, that's supposed to signify more of a cancer patient's diagnosis. So as the sun sets, we remember those who are currently battling and also those that we've lost to cancer. So what we do is we line the track with Luminaria bags. Luminaria bags are, you saw a picture on Priyanka's slide before, but they're a bag that we light up and we decorate in honor of someone that we've lost or in honor of someone currently battling. And we line them across the track, and it just really is a symbol of hope and remembrance. And it's just one of my favorite part of Relay for Life. I've never felt such a great community as being part of something that I know everyone has experienced something similar, all in our own ways, but we're all there together in this moment. And so that's a really, really special time, creating those Luminaria bags and lining the track and hearing about different individual stories. So that's one of my favorite parts about the event. And then as the sun rises, we start to think of more hope. It's like the sun rising on a cancer patient's journey. So the Fight Back ceremony is what we end Relay with. And it really focuses on cancer education and looking forward to a brighter future. So we often hear from researchers who are making an impact in new treatment options. And basically the idea is that we are fighting back together for a world without cancer. So those are kind of the core ceremonies that define Relay. But just to give you a better sense of what the event looked like, we have a short video for you, which hopefully gives you a sense of what Relay for Life 2019 looked like, which was our last in-person event. Awesome. So hopefully that gave you a better sense of what our Relay for Life events look like. They're a really special time for the community and something that I miss being in person. But just because we have been in COVID-19 times doesn't mean we've stopped the fight against cancer. In fact, cancer patients are helped more than ever. So I am going to let Shane talk about the impact of COVID-19 on cancer patients.
Yeah, so as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a lot of suffering for really everyone across the world. But cancer patients have been especially impacted by the pandemic. So cancer patients are actually more susceptible to severe disease from COVID because many have weakened immune systems due to the cancer itself or the treatments like chemotherapy that they're going through. Also, accessibility is a huge issue in the pandemic due to delayed and canceled appointments, overpacked ERs and ICUs, and even just the fear of visiting hospitals during the pandemic. There's also obviously the financial burdens of the pandemic, which has caused many patients to struggle to afford treatments and screenings. So all of these impacts have resulted in a decreased number of screenings and diagnoses and treatments for cancer, which will likely result in higher mortality in the future due to the lack of immediate action and early detection during this past year. Luckily, though, ACS CAN's advocacy pushes have been advocating for cancer patients during this time. And through their work, cancer patients have been specifically included within the COVID-19 relief packages passed by Congress, which helped to lower the health insurance premiums for cancer patients and survivors. So with this pandemic, our organization has also had to go through some significant changes, as you would expect, especially with our Relay for Life event. So Priyanka is going to talk a little bit about that transition.
Yes, so as mentioned previously, last spring we had to transition our Relay for Life 2020 event to a virtual format due to the pandemic. And instead we held a 4-hour live stream event via our Facebook page and our website, relay@ucla.org. And so in order to stay true to our core tenets, we kept our hallmark ceremonies that Jenna mentioned, Survivorship, Luminaria, and Fight Back in our live stream event. In addition, we also included activities to keep all of our participants engaged, such as our annual Mr. Relay male pageant, which was featured in that video as well. I heard someone laugh at that. It is definitely a fun part of Relay every year. We included, a fight back trivia game, and we also had speakers from the community and celebrities who have ties to the fight against cancer. So we also utilized our social media to really expand our reach and market our live stream event and make it public to broaden our reach and expand our mission into the community, Westwood and beyond. And in fact, our virtual Relay live stream garnered 6.7 thousand views on our Facebook page, and we were able to raise around $76,000, which we were very proud of considering the recent onset of the coronavirus pandemic, and because we knew this money was going to support patients in that very trying time. And then just in general, we're going to be showing you a little bit of a glimpse into what our virtual relay was like last year, so you can kind of get an idea about what will be coming this year as well.
Wow. Hmm.
Awesome. So hopefully that gave you a better sense of how we were able to transition and still keep a lot of our hallmark ceremonies and really engage the community in a time when we had just all been.
Jen, excuse me, I'm not hearing you at all. Is anybody else having a problem with sound?
Yes. Yes.
Are you able to hear me now?
Not much better. I can hear the others just fine. It's just your sound suddenly vanished.
Interesting. Okay, let me try and put in some.
Still low.
Okay. Priyanka, do you want to jump in real quick?
Yeah, I can. And maybe it'll help to like unshare and reshare the screen. I'm not sure if that'll do anything, but I can definitely hop in and talk about virtual relay. Yeah, so we are, like I mentioned before, going to be having a virtual relay event again this year due to the pandemic and continued restrictions, which we're happy with because we want to make sure everyone's staying safe and healthy. And this year, our event is going to be taking place on Saturday, May 15th at noon PST, and it'll probably be around the same amount of time, around 4 hours. And we're having a theme this year in the cloud, which is kind of a double entendre with being virtual and in the internet space. We're going to be in the cloud, so that's our theme. And this graphic here on the side kind of shows a little bit of our ideas and how we're going to be marketing this as well. But we're really excited to have a theme again and to be able to build this community up again with our virtual event. And so for anyone interested, you can sign up at uclarelay.org, which is our website to register and to donate at. And again, our live stream will be via Facebook and our website this year. And we'll still include our favorite ceremonies that we mentioned before, events like our Mr. Relay pageant, and other activities as well, and some special guests, celebrity guests. We're having a person from High School Musical who is a very big celebrity in our age group circles, be our host for Mr. Relay. So we're definitely excited to bring a lot more people to our event this year and hopefully fundraise a lot and make sure that our cancer patients and survivors are being supported.
Great. Are you guys able to hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So Priyanka is also going to jump in and talk about the fact that we have been fundraising all year. So it's not just this one day of the event. So she's going to tell you what we've been up until this point.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we have our signature event every year in May in the spring. This year it's May 15th. But every year we always are spending the entire year leading up to Relay actually fundraising and getting people involved in our efforts ahead of time. So these are just some of the fundraisers that we've done so far this year with our committee being completely virtual. So we've done our annual winter silent auction event, and we did Valentine's grams, a trivia night on Zoom. We had a live stream concert with UCLA students who are amazing artists called Rock Out for a Cure, and we're able to fundraise through that as well. And in addition, ACS hosts a fundraising challenge for all college and high school campuses every year called Fund the Mission, and it was just in February, and this year we were very excited to participate, and we actually were ranked #1. We raised the most money out of all college campuses that have relays this year, and that was really that's something we were very proud of. It was a 3-day fundraising push, and we were very happy to make that successful and know that our money is going to be supporting our community, our cancer patient community in the future. And so even though we've been doing all this work, we're really close to our goal, but we're not quite there. So we're definitely committed to continuing our fundraising efforts as we approach Relay. And now to kind of put this fundraising effort into context, it's important to understand how our funds are actually supporting the fight against cancer. So one example includes funding cancer research, and some that's even taking place in our own Westwood community. So this example is Dr. David Shackelford at UCLA, who received a $240,000 grant from ACS in January of 2020 to support his team's research into new treatment involving the starvation of tumor cells for different lung cancers. So that's just one example of how our money is going towards supporting furthering research and improving treatment for cancer patients. In addition, money we raise also funds patient services via the American Cancer Society, which includes access to a 24-hour information and support line for patients, rides to and from treatment, stays at ACS Hope Lodges when their cancer treatment is far from their homes. And additionally, money raised is also supporting ACS's health equity programs and scholarships through their diversity, inclusion, and health equity work, which is a great cause as well. So all of these examples illustrate the tangible ways in which our efforts and our fundraising directly support the fight against cancer in our communities and across the country. And so now Jenna will touch on how you all can get involved as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So hopefully you can see that we've been working really hard to, make an impact in our community. And so if you're wondering ways that you can get involved, there are several. First would be, there's actually a UCLA Rotaract team already started on uclarelay.org. I know some of you have been in contact with Carson, who is the president of UCLA Rotaract. And so I'll show you in a second how you can sign up there. A sign up is a $15 donation to the American Cancer Society. So that sign up for the event goes straight to funding that cancer research and patient services that I talked about. Another way that you can get involved at no cost or no donation would be tuning into our virtual relay event. So we'll definitely pass on more information as it gets closer, but it will be live streamed on our Facebook page and our website. So even just sharing our post or sharing the live stream can really help broaden our reach, and we would really appreciate that. And then lastly would be buying or selling Luminaria bags. So dedicating a Luminaria bag is $10. And this year, you can see what they would look like in person and also an example of what they looked like last year. This year, they're going to be professionally designed by a graphic designer, so they're going to look even better this year. And that $10 that you spend on a Luminaria bag, again, is a donation to the American Cancer Society, and it can be credited towards your personal fundraising if you decide to sign up for the event, or towards your team fundraising. So if you wanted to support the UCLA Rotaract team without signing up, that's an option as well. So I'll show you kind of how that process would look. So let me just share my screen one more time. Thanks for bearing with me here. All right, here we go. So if you head to uclarelay.org, this is what you're going to get. This is our event page. It'll tell you kind of when the event is, where it's streaming on Facebook, and you have some options here. So you can donate, you can join this relay, or you can dedicate a Luminaria. So I'll show you what the Rotaract team looks like. You scroll down here and click on all teams. You can then search for UCLA Rotaract, and here it is right here. Carson is the team captain. So once you click on that page, again, you're able to join that team if you wanted to sign up for the event, and you can fundraise yourself, share a Facebook fundraiser, you can donate to the team, or you can dedicate a Luminaria. So there's a lot of options of ways that you can get involved, depending on how much commitment you want. You can see Carson right here is a superstar, has raised $400 already towards the team's fundraising. So hopefully several more of you would be interested in joining her on this process. So those are kind of the ways that you can get involved with the event as an individual or as a part of the Rotary. And Shane is going to give us one more look at a way that you could potentially get involved that is a separate way. So I'll let this load and then I'll pass it on to Shane.
Yeah, so if any of the goals or the mission of our organization and event really align with your values, or you would like to have your business become more involved in supporting this cause, we do have a sponsorship program with tiers that include benefits like recognition on our social media pages, becoming a presenting sponsor of one of our relay ceremonies that Jenna talked about earlier, having a speaking opportunity at Relay itself, or even a short advertisement during Relay. Overall, we're really flexible with our sponsors in the benefits that we offer, and we're open to really any ways in which a sponsor would want to be involved in our event. So if any of this is of interest to you, I could connect you with our sponsorship team, which I'm a part of, and we can talk more about these opportunities. So if you're interested, their contact information is here on the slide, and you could reach out and we could have a conversation about it.
Awesome. So those are kind of the main ways that you could get involved. But obviously, if you'd like to be involved in a different way, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any survivors that you know who would want to be a part of our survivor video, that's an opportunity. So there's definitely plenty of ways to get involved. So if you're interested in connecting with us, here's our email address as well as our social media. Virtual Relay is going to be streamed on our Facebook page. So that's kind of it for us. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here and talk a little bit more about what we do. And we'd love to open the floor to any questions you may have or any comments. Please let us know.
Thank you. That was a wonderful presentation, and your work is really impressive and inspiring. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. Jenna, are you a 501c3 or do you have to get credit for that to the American Cancer Society?
So we ourselves are like an aspect of the American Cancer Society. So all the donations go straight to the American Cancer Society. So all those donations are tax deductible, and they are a 501c3.
Good question.
Does that answer your question?
Expect an accountant to ask.
Yes. So when you make a donation on the website, you'll get an email recap that has all of that information for your taxes.
Phil?
Do you think that you guys can do the in-person event in the spring of next year?
That's our hope. I mean, as everyone's starting to get vaccinated, and UCLA's announced in fall, they're planning on having all of their classes be in person again. So as of now, we'll cross our fingers and hope that would be the case. But obviously we're getting better and better at these virtual events as it goes on. So we're prepared either way.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. More questions? Well, I'm glad to know that the UCLA Rotaract Club is involved, that we are actually building closer ties with them. So that's something that we'll take up with them.
Great. Yeah, Carson is a member of our committee. And so you can contact her with any questions about that as well.
We'll absolutely do that. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. I think you all did a great job. You're very impressive people who are already doing important work at an early stage in your lives. So that's very exciting to see. And I personally want to thank you for being with us today. And we'll look forward to hearing more about your progress in the future. Are there any last moment comments or thoughts?
Yeah, so I just want to say one thing.
Sure.
I want to thank our presenters today for their time and their energy, and I'm really impressed. And anyone who says that the generation is not doing anything, they're completely wrong. You guys are doing amazing things, and I'm really, really proud of all you guys.
Well, I'll echo that. I think your generation gets a bad rap, but guess what? So did mine.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
We probably deserved it. So, but I'm always excited to hear people who are committed and doing valuable work in the world, and especially when it comes so much from the heart, as it obviously does with all of you. So I know we'll be in contact with you again in the future, and I thank you again so much for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. Maybe we'll send, Tom, a little recap with the links just in case anyone is.
Oh, please do. Please do. Okay. That would be great. Thank you again. Thank you all for being here. We're meeting again next week, same time, same place. And stay safe and well in the meantime. Thanks, everyone.